Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Meet the Mustangs. Joining us this week is WNMU head men's basketball coach Mark Coleman. Coach?
Good to see you, Mike.
Well, ready for another season?
I'm ready. It's been 8 years. It's amazing that it's gone by so quickly.
Well, Coach, each year or each group of students you seem to be progressing. Is this your best returning group that you've had since you've been here?
I'd say it's one of the best. Probably the best was the Trey Clarkson, Kate's equivalent, Chris Taylor, just because it was my first recruiting class and they went through 3 years and they saw the program where it was and where they took it. So that was probably the best. But having back TJ and Duran and those guys and Chad Carter, I really think that with the group that we have coming in with them, it could, we'll take our lumps early because we're so young, but it could be a good group, especially down the road.
Well, Coach, one of the things that happens, you've started to get out there, some consistency in the program, some winning in the program. Does that make it a little easier to recruit?
I think it makes it a lot easier. We had guys that were calling us up until August that were decent players, and we've never had that. And maybe it's the economy and they know that Western's such a great deal, but it was very easy to go in and get some kids from Phoenix. We had 2 kids that won the 5A2 championship on the same team and made the 5A All-Star team, and you know, I really think that it was difficult, but my time spent in Phoenix and Tucson I think has helped too, because when I first got here, no one in Phoenix or Tucson knew where Western New Mexico was, and now it's a lot easier to go in there and get players.
Certainly one of the things that was a concern last year and had some guys playing out of position was size inside. Were you able to go out and get some guys that can play inside?
We did finally address that, and so we have a 6'8" kid, Breland Berry, who will come in, and I think he'll see significant time. I'm not sure how much, but he will be able to help us. We have a couple of 6'6" kids that are really 4 position, 3 and 4 position, but it gives us an opportunity to move Chad Carter around a little bit more and not force him to play center, and Chuck Kemp really didn't like playing inside very much, and he just kind of floated out to the 3-point line a lot, and he'll be more in his comfort zone, not having to play in the post or having to play post players.
Well, definitely the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference, one of the premier basketball conferences in NCAA Division II. Who do you see stepping up this year as far as the teams that will compete for championships?
Metro, as usual, will always be good, and they have a new coach this year, but just about everyone back. Fort Lewis, who is always tough on our side, has just about everyone back, and I think those two will be the toughest. Mesa lost quite a bit, Highlands lost quite a bit, so they're reloading, but I think Metro and Fort Lewis will be probably the class of the conference.
Well, certainly with the success you've had, this group coming back with TJ, you've got Duran, a lot of guys, Chuck you mentioned, and some good newcomers. It's not going to be so easy to sneak up. I might say you're a dark horse to get in there and compete.
You know, we were good at home, and we beat some teams at home, and you know, only losing 2 games at home last year, and both in double overtime, was kind of tough to swallow. But if we could kind of get that going on the road, we could be a completely different team. But the one thing that we lacked, I think we lacked at times cohesion on the road. We lacked maturity on the road, and those are the 2 biggest things that you need. And we were still young last year, and you know, with TJ being new last year, basically being a sophomore and only playing a little bit in D1, he was basically a freshman. And Duran now was put in a spotlight where he was someone that we looked to go to a little bit more. And Justin Williams was trying to carry the team by himself as the only senior. So, you know, I really think that down the road that we'll be able to be competitive on the road, and hopefully we'll still be as good as we were at home.
Well, certainly every year we have a couple of Division I games. This year you've got 6, and a couple of them right in the middle of the schedule.
Yeah, I'm not sure who did that schedule, but you know, the biggest thing I wanted to do was we had some games that, one, we could make some money, but also I wanted to get these freshmen, because I think having 7 and at least 4 we'll see significant action, could be more, as many games as possible their freshman year. And with us playing Hawaii, we're allowed to exempt those games this year, and so instead of playing the 26 games, we're playing 29, and then the 2 exhibition games against the D1s. There were just opportunities that we couldn't pass up, and you know, we thought we just basically had 3 exhibition games like we usually have, but all of a sudden we get a call from Colorado, and it doesn't usually happen this way, but we have a weekend where we're in Colorado, and then the following weekend we're in Colorado again, but we didn't really want to come back and go back, especially in the middle of winter, and Colorado called it for a perfect time right in the middle of it, and so that worked out perfectly. And then all of a sudden UTEP calls and they want us to play in the Sun Bowl, which will be a great experience for the kids. And New Mexico State, we're in the Naismith Hall of Fame tip-off tournament, so I'm sure a lot of people will be shocked to see Western New Mexico as one of the participants in those tournaments. But yeah, I think it'll be great for the kids, and we'll take our licks at times. And but that's kind of what we did with Clarkson, Crevillon, and Taylor. That when they were first here, we played a bunch of D1s, and all of a sudden, you know, when we played in Mexico State's tournament, we lost. We had a shot at the buzzer to beat Texas, North Texas,
Right.
and then we only lost to Chicago State by 10. So. And we ended up winning 17 games that year. So I'm hoping down the road it helps us. I'm sure once we step out on the floor and the ball goes up, I'll think what are we doing here?
Yeah.
But yeah, at the time it seems like a great idea.
Well, it'll definitely be a shock to New Mexico State when you go down there and win.
Exactly, and we can go and call them and let them know right now so they're prepared.
Well, Coach, thanks for joining us on Meet the Mustang, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Mike.